Here.
Ms. Calderon? Present. Mr. DePasto?
Present.
Ms. Coffinger?
Here.
Ms. Lombardi?
Here.
Mr. Luna?
Here.
Ms. Ryan? Vice President Dunn?
Here.
President Gomez?
Here. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board statements. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the New Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof in the record, New Milford Public Library, New Milford Borough Hall, and the main office of all New Milford Public Schools. The board announces that under its long-standing policy, it will not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Meetings of the board are open to the public and all members of the community should feel free to participate. Before coming to the board, the chain of command should be followed. There are two portions of the meeting reserved for comments from the public. The first at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second at the end of the meeting for other items. Issues raised by the public may or may not be responded to by the board, but all comments will be considered. The board requests that all members of the public be mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Due to confidentiality and legal rights afforded by the state of New Jersey, members of the public are asked to not speak negatively or in a derogatory manner about any employee of the board or any student. Okay, now we're going to do the fun part of the meeting, our presentation for the 2024 Teacher of the Year recognitions.
Good evening. I'm so glad that all of you could join us tonight. It is with great pleasure and pride that I extend a warm welcome to each of you as we gather here tonight to celebrate and recognize the outstanding achievements of our 2024 Educators of the Year. This evening is a true testament to the remarkable dedication and talent that permeates our school community. The educators that we honor this evening have consistently demonstrated an extraordinary ability to inspire a profound love of learning in their students. They've not only imparted knowledge, but also ignited a passion for exploration, discovery, and growth that will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on the lives of those they teach. What makes this recognition particularly special is that our Educators of the Year have been nominated by their fellow colleagues, a testament to the respect and admiration they've earned from their peers. This acknowledgement from within our own ranks speaks volumes about the caliber of educators that we're fortunate to have among us. To our esteemed honorees, I extend my heartfelt congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Your dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to excellence serves as an inspiration to us all. Thank you for your tireless efforts and for the profound difference you make in the lives of our students each and every day. To our Board of Education trustees and esteemed guests, thank you for joining us as we celebrate the achievements of these exceptional educators. Together, let us continue to support and uplift one another as we continue to shape the future leaders of tomorrow. So now I would like to start with our elementary Berkeley Street School Teacher of the Year. I can call up Dr. Prismalis, and we'll start our elementary and work our way up. Here. Do you want to announce?
Sure.
Yeah, great. Just face the camera.
Okay.
So it is my privilege and my honor to be here today to represent Berkeley Street School as the principal and to honor Nicole DeGrazia, who is our school counselor. When I was driving over, I was thinking about all the things I wanted to say about Nicole, and I kept thinking of all these words. So yes, kind, intelligent, dedicated, committed, warm, loving, perfect. And I thought, what would be the one word besides perfect? I would say that old adage that says, great things come in small packages. She's mighty. That's the word I landed on. Nicole is always there for every single person in our building. I could not do my job without her. She is everyone's right hand. She's calm, she's kind, she's cool, she's collected. The children absolutely adore her. The staff adores her. This is such a tribute to you and the dedication you bring to our school every day. We love Berkeley. Berkeley is a special place, and it is extra special because of Nicole. So we love you, Nicole. Congratulations. So very well deserved.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Come on.
And now I'd like to go on to B.F. Gibbs Elementary School, and we will recognize Laura Richard.
So Dr. Perot and I just want to acknowledge Laura Whitrick. She's here with her family tonight. Do you guys want to give a wave? I think it's just... So Laura is one of the most dedicated teachers that I have had the pleasure of working with. I think I can say that about a lot of people at BF Gibbs. But the thing that really stands out for Laura, or your mom, is that she's really like tenacious, like in a good way, right? Like she fights for the children that she works for and does not worry about, you know, is this the right thing? Should I say this? She advocates for the children. And if you are a parent of someone who works with Ms. Whitrick, you should just rest at ease that your child is in the very best of hands. So it is just with esteemed honor and pleasure that I present this award to you tonight, and I know you just make our team so much better. And she's also a hockey mom, so we have a little, like, it's crazy. She doesn't get home till like probably 10 o'clock at night, and then comes to work and does all of this. So I understand firsthand how that is. So, congratulations.
I have to write things down now. It's my absolute pleasure to be here to honor such an exceptional teacher who's made a remarkable impact on Gibbs School and our community. Mrs. Whitrick is the epitome of a dedicated teacher. She not only brings a wealth of knowledge and preparation to her class, but also brings a quiet and calm demeanor that creates a welcoming and inclusive environment. Her approach is as gentle as it is effective, and her commitment to her students is unwavering. What truly makes you special is your focus on individual needs. You understand that each student is unique with their own strengths, challenges, and learning styles. You take time to get to know your students, to understand their goals and their dreams, and find the best way to help them succeed. Her in-class support is tailored to each student, ensure that they feel valued and capable of achieving their best. Beyond her incredible teaching skills, Mrs. Whitrick is a compassionate and caring person. She listens to her students, offers guidance, and is always there to lend a helping hand. Her dedication extends beyond the classroom, as she often collaborates with parents and other educators to create a comprehensive support system for all of the students. We are so fortunate to have someone of your caliber here on our team. Your hard work and attention to detail are a model for all of us, and your impact on the lives of the students is immeasurable. Thank you for everything that you do each day.
picture.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to call up Mr. Dalala, and we will be recognizing Ms. Lindsay Friedman.
Good evening, everybody. It's a real honor to be here to celebrate Lindsay. I've known her now for 9 years. I remember going into DEO and Lindsay being one of the first person I actually ever observed, and really feeling like, okay, I'm going to go into this person, I'm going to help them out, and I'm really going to be able to give them some great feedback. I was a social studies teacher at middle school level for 15 years. I got a lot to give here, and realized very quickly that I have a lot to learn here. And the person I did the learning from was Lindsay. She brings a level of organization, a level of calm that is just really amazes me every single day. I'll come to Lindsay at times and I'll be frantic. Something, I can't do this, okay, we'll figure it out, no problem. And it just gets done. I remember bringing History Alive probably about 7 or 8 years ago to Lindsay. She's like, oh, this looks like we can do this. This looks good. And all of a sudden, we have History Alive, and every teacher's using it. And I could take credit for it, but I would be false credit because it's really Lindsay that brought it to our department, brought it to everybody. I just have to tell you, I'm just so proud of you, and so proud of just being a part of who you are and what you bring to our school and to our kids.
Recognizing Richard Rock.
This is weird. I don't know. This is all right, say some really nice things about me.
Let's go to your classroom.
Yeah.
That's where I go every day for lunch.
Yeah.
So I just want to congratulate Mr. Groff. He really has done an amazing job over the course of his career. I remember him being one of the new people in the department, right, Mr. Wilson? Yes. and now he's grown into one of the leaders of the department and one of the mentors, especially to the other staff. So just from an education standpoint, his students love him, and it's not just for the conversations or for the relationships outside the classroom, it's what he brings to the classroom. If you walk by his classroom every day at lunch, you're going to see it full of students, and not just hanging out. There's students preparing for the AP exam, right? And they're working, and he's there helping them as he's eating lunch, right? So he's always giving up his time outside the classroom, whether it's mock trial or it's through coaching. If you look up at one of those screens, you're going to see Coach of the Year come up, which is pretty impressive. He had one of the best years that he's had, or New Milford's had in basketball in a long time. And what's really even says a lot about Hershey is that night they had beaten a strong Waldwick team. Okay, I love Waldwick, so yeah. I'm trying to make it special here. They had a huge win. And what really was telling about Hershey is, unfortunately, it was really bad news we received from one of his players. One of his players had a tragedy in the family. And they go from this high, winning this awesome state playoff game at home, right? And all of a sudden down into this experience. But the only thing that mattered was Hershey's player, right? He ran to that student, supported that student. I was there, and I was coming down the hall. He was already there, listening to the student, trying to work with him, even with his poorly in Spanish that or she used to work on. But he was there for that student, and he helped support him. And you can see from the coaching staff in general, through his leadership, everyone was there for him. The players were there for him. So it goes beyond the classroom, it goes beyond the instruction, which teaches multiple AP courses, and our kids do very well. It goes beyond that. He really, truly cares for our students, and he provides such a learning experience for them in and outside of the classroom about life. His family is a wonderful family. He's a youth coach now, which he loves too, right?
Most of us.
And I also want to thank him too, because my son's a sophomore. I probably talked to him probably throughout the season, or even outside the season, what should I do? Can I do this? And he's always been supportive of it. So I just want to thank you on behalf of our school and our district for all the work that you do. I appreciate it. I didn't want to get flowers for you, but so the PTO and I put a little something together.
No, that's very nice. Thank you.
There you go in the middle. He's a tall guy. Mr. Officer. See, I think I'm tall.
And now I would like to call Dr. Bennett Pearl back up, and we will recognize Michael Coyne as our special education teacher of the year.
Go first. So he was a football coach, or is a football coach, and he played football, so I stay away from him. So Mike, we've known each other for a long time, and it's an honor to represent for him today and speak on behalf of the school and department. If you walk by his classroom and see the students that he works with every day, there's not many people that can do it well like him, right? The way that he engages them, the way that he reaches them, the rapport that he's built with them, that only happens because it's Mike, right? Very few people can walk into that classroom, be able to instruct in that manner, reach the levels that he does, and the needs of all the students in the room, working with the aides as well. Also in a collaborative setting, stepping into other teachers' classrooms, working with them, partner with them, knowing the content as well, being able to work in both those resource setting and the collaborative setting, and then this year, taking on the transition piece, right? Another thing added on top. So he's only able to do that because of the skills that he has, the dedication to the students here as well. I'm very fortunate. We have an R1 schedule, so R1 means rotation 1. Every morning, I have the pleasure of standing at the door with Mr. Coyne, and we have a great time welcoming our students in. It would not be the same without his humor and his connection with the students. I just want to thank you, Mike. You've always been someone that we can come to and speak to, always been someone that everyone respects, and it's a credit to you and your family.
Mr. Coyne is more than a teacher. He is a guide, a mentor, and a friend to his students. He teaches the transitional classes, helping students navigate the journey from high school to the world beyond. His approach to teaching is grounded in humor and compassion. He creates an atmosphere where students feel comfortable, understood, and valued. One of Mr. Coyne's greatest strengths is his ability to connect with students on a personal level. He understands that each student is unique and tailors his teaching to meet their individual needs. His classrooms are places of laughter and learning, where students are encouraged to be themselves and take steps towards their own success. Mr. Coyne's impact extends far beyond the classroom. He collaborates with parents, partners with colleagues, and is always willing to go the extra mile to ensure his students have the resources and supports that they need. His peers hold him in the highest regard, recognizing him as a source of inspiration and a leader in the field of education. So thank you for your unwavering dedication and all that you did for our students at New Milford High School this year. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now we would like to recognize our district educational support staff person of the year.
It is with immense pride and gratitude that I stand here celebrating Mrs. Empamini. She is truly an extraordinary district personnel teacher person of the year. She goes above and beyond, whose work has a profound impact on our students, families, and community. As a social worker, Mrs. Empamini wears many hats, each one more important than the last. Whether she's managing cases for our preschool students or overseeing students placed out of district, her dedication to her work is unparalleled. She partners with families, collaborates with colleagues, and always finds a way to make everyone feel seen, heard, and valued. What truly sets Mrs. Empamini apart is her warmth and sense of humor. You can't help but smile when she's in the room. She has a way of bringing light to even the most challenging situations, reminding us all that laughter is often the best medicine. Her warmth makes her an anchor in our preschool team, grounding us with her wisdom and compassion. Mrs. Empamini is not just a social worker. She's a problem solver, a confidant, and a trusted friend. She knows how to navigate complex systems, ensuring that our students and our families receive the support that they need. Her knowledge and expertise are invaluable, and her ability to connect with people on a personal level is truly remarkable. We are a better place, we are a better department because of you, not just through your work, but through your kindness and humanity.
I did fail to mention earlier that each of you will receive your flame. It is being made. We did hold our Teacher of the Year recognition a bit earlier due to some changes in the calendar, but I will certainly make sure that you receive that when they come in. Now I'd like to see if we could just recess for a few minutes to allow for some photos. And then, as I am sure you all, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you do not have to. I'm sure that you have to get ready for tomorrow.
Sure, so we'll take a 5-minute break.
Thank you all for coming. Starting with New Milford High School, we have 2 alleged cases of HIV. 2 cases were forwarded to the HIV specialist for full investigations. 1 case was confirmed as meeting the definition of HIV, and 1 case was unfounded. At the middle school, we had 5 alleged cases of HIV. 5 cases were forwarded to the HIV specialist for full investigations. 2 cases were confirmed as meeting the definition of HIV. 2 cases were unfounded. 1 case is still being investigated. Berkeley Street School, we had 2 alleged cases of HIV. 2 cases were not forwarded following the principal's preliminary determination, and rather they were dealt with as code of conduct. And at B.F. Gibbs Elementary School, we had 3 alleged cases of HIV. 3 cases were forwarded to the HIV specialist for full investigations. 1 case was confirmed as meeting the definition of HIV, and 2 cases were unfounded. Now on to the suspension report for the month of March. At New Milford High School, we had three students, each received 1 day of in-school suspension, totaling 3 days as a result of 2 separate infractions. 1 student received an out-of-school suspension for 1 day due to a single infraction. At the middle school, 2 students received 1 day, each received 1 day of in-school suspension, totaling 2 days as a result of 2 separate infractions. 10 students each received out-of-school suspension for 1 day, totaling 10 days as a result of 7 separate infractions. At Berkeley, we had 2 students each received 1 day of in-school suspension, and 1 student received 1 day of out-of-school suspension, in-school suspension, totaling 4 days. Is my math right up there? 2 students each received 1 day of in-school suspension, and 1 student received 1 day of in-school suspension, totaling 3 days, as a result of 3 separate infractions. And at Gibbs, we had 3 students who each received 1 day of in-school suspension, totaling 3 days, as a result of 2 separate infractions. I am going to share good news tomorrow.
Okay.
And we also have a budget presentation tomorrow. One thing that I did want to note that was added onto the calendar was the update to the district calendar. So I had conversations with our NMEA president, Linda Essman, and we had looked closely at the emergency days and unused days. So we are able to give the Friday blackout date, I believe it is May 24th, I don't have the calendar in front of me, as a return day for all students, and without affecting the required number of days for students. So we've added that revision to the calendar for board approval tomorrow evening, and then we are going to look further at any inequity that may exist for staff. But we have to make sure that it doesn't affect student days, because we need to still meet the state requirement. So that is on the calendar. And I think that is all that I have for this evening.
Okay. Are you going to do the assistant superintendent?
No, I'm not.
Okay, perfect.
I kept it light because I knew we had a
Business administrative report, Stephanie Kuchar.
Good evening. Just very brief for tonight. A few agenda items. BA 2324.79 is a service agreement with the borough. They have already approved this at a mayor and council meeting, and one of their, I believe he's a recent hire, has worked on various school buses, and so previously we had been bringing our buses to various garages, and it's been very costly. And so we've been really fortunate that the borough has the equipment and the manpower to help us, and so it's been really wonderful in maintaining our buses and keeping them on the road. as well as sort of a financial savings to have this agreement. So it's similar to the agreement that we have with them for the SRO and SLEOs, and that it's 50% shared service agreement with them for mechanical services. They can also service some of our trucks. Usually our in-house guys can handle some of that, but the bigger work, we take it to the borough. The next agenda item is BA 2324.80, the approval of the dental plan agreements. This is a 3% increase from the current year, which is sort of typical market rate. And BA 2324.81 is a renewal, but it's actually flat. So both of these are pretty favorable, and both have been accounted for in the 24-25 budget. The next one that I would like to tell you guys a little bit about is F2324.230, and it's a withdrawal of maintenance reserve for $100,000, which we will, if the high school mechanical HVAC equipment is done during the 24-25 school year, we'll offset the board share of the ROD grant for that mechanical equipment. The mechanical equipment is about a year out, so it's unlikely that it'll happen during the 24-25 budget. And should it not happen during the 24-25 budget, that $100,000 will go back into maintenance reserve at the end. So last meeting, we had the approval to withdraw from capital reserve to offset the roof for the high school and for Gibbs. We did get the final approval from the State Department of Legal for the ROD grants, so we are going out to bid. Hopefully those numbers come in favorable, and we will be able to move forward with doing the roof. That will be awarded as special board meeting on May 29th. Should those numbers be favorable and we're able to award. So that one, that'll go to the paper tomorrow, and it'll be advertised, and the timeline on that will be part of that advertisement. And that, the last one was a late addition, is F2324.236 and .237, and both of these is replacing an old vendor for a cost-saving opportunity to go with a new vendor for some of our IT internet services. So there's cost savings in both of those resolutions. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Great, thank you. Any liaison board committee reports? No? Okay, just remember, guys, when we have a committee meeting, there is a form to fill out to give a summary to the rest of the board prior to the board meeting so that we can read. So that should be completed regarding any meeting we have as a committee. Okay? Does anyone have any reports? No? Any correspondence?
None this evening.
Okay. Agenda items for discussion. Review the tentative agenda for the regular meeting to be held on April 24, 2024. Any questions regarding review of board action? John?
Just on for finance and facilities, we have an update, I don't know if we can do it now or for tomorrow, on solutions architecture.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat what you're saying?
Yeah, for finance and facilities,
Right.
we have an update on the solutions architecture work.
Okay. Anyone else?
The board action or the finance? Or are we just skipping?
What is finance and facilities? So we're doing board action first.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I was confused. I was like, wait. Okay, so anyone regarding board action, any questions? No. Any questions regarding review of educational programs and curriculum? Do you have any, Sean?
No.
Oh, okay. No one? Any review of personnel recommendations? Any questions? No? Okay, so review of finance and facilities. So, is there something on the agenda that you're bringing up regarding?
I don't remember here.
Oh. I was raising my hand for agenda, so when you get to that.
Yeah, I've been out for a couple of meetings, so I apologize for that. Some work items got in the way of our meetings, but I don't remember hearing about where we were with that. If we're doing anything at all, if we sort of just pause that for now, or what?
I think, are you talking about Solutions.
Architecture.
like our work with them in regards to upcoming pending projects potentially?
I think that's old business, sorry.
Yeah, I know it doesn't fall under our agenda items. Can we just wait till when we get to, okay, perfect. So does anyone else have any questions regarding finance and facilities?
So, 23-23, 22-9, so I'm reading through it, can you just explain that a little bit more again? That's the money that was towards the track, but I'm just trying to understand, was that money that was budgeted and we wound up actually not needing it, or so? Because it was a while ago.
That's exactly what it is.
So-
It's, it was done through TD Financial, a $2.5 million loan that has expired, and the project came in, and we have $11,602 left from that, and it currently is in the capital projects fund, and it needs to be moved into the capital reserve account, but that's exactly what it is from. It's from the 2019-20 TD Bank Finance to finance the fields.
Okay, so this is it, now it's done.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to figure out. So we're done, that's off the list, and it was about $11,000, and we're gonna put it back into the reserve.
Yes,
All
that
right.
is correct.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions? Any questions regarding review athletics and co-curricula? Tony?
I don't have my glasses. Regarding the first resolution, no cost to the board, which is wonderful. Does it have any cost to the individual students involved?
The ice hockey. When we have the agreement with the Valley
It says
Gamers.
no cost to the board, which is wonderful, but I'm curious as to whether our students or their families bear any cost.
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, this typically I don't know what the cost is, but this is an existing co-op, and I believe it's a 3-year co-op that is expiring. So we're now re-upping it, and I believe in the past, when we've had students participate in the program, there is a small cost. I think they supply their own equipment, but I can get further clarification on that.
Any other questions?
Are there any students currently participating in that?
This year there's not, but next year I believe there's 1 student in 8th grade, and I believe there's 2 in 7th grade that would potentially like to join the team. And there was none this year, and I believe there was 1 last year.
So a rising ninth grade.
A rising 9th grader.
Right, 2 7th graders, I'm not asking because it's for next year, but in 2 years, if they stay Marine, there might be 2 more.
Correct. And I believe it's for 3 years, so we would have hopefully 3 students participating in the co-op,
Okay.
at least, that we know.
Any other questions?
I just want to, thank the 3 that are listed here for volunteering.
Definitely.
Coaches.
Any questions regarding review of policy? No? Okay. So old business. John?
Now we go.
Now we can ask it.
You want me to ask you again?
You want an update on solutions
Are you talking about a
architecture?
particular project? That's what I'm trying to
So,
figure out.
yeah, so we were having them do they came and gave a presentation, they were going to do a review of all facilities and determine,
The referendum.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was trying to ask, if you were asking about the referendum.
Yeah.
So,
So following, that was paused following the, right? Am I not mistaken, after we had the presentation in the fall?
I don't remember when that
It
was.
was the same night, there were two presentations that evening. It was actually Matt Murphy did Profiling Graduate, and then it was Frank Massimio from
Yeah, that was in the
Solutions.
fall. It was in
That was in the
February.
fall.
It was in
Yes.
February.
So we, internally, we did start looking over the plans. We started with the plans that we had from the comprehensive audit that he did the first time. We looked at that, and I believe we had said at that time, and I think we said this at one of the board meetings, that so many things have changed, even programmatically, that would affect the plans and the facility projects that we had in mind at that time. So he needs to update those plans, but we're kind of at a standstill waiting to see when you want to proceed with that.
Yeah,
I thought we left,
what's that?
I thought we left it that way.
Last time I remember talking about it, we said we were not going to close it.
Keep doing it?
Yeah.
Keep doing the,
That
We
we
did.
were supposed to do that
come back
review.
and do the?
I have been doing the roof project, and I've also with that been having stuff that's already been updated because like we've done the lights, we've done the boilers, we've done like a lot of the internal stuff, and so there's an intake on now what equipment we have, so that's going into it. So in terms of, we're still in a process of cleaning up the existing, but yes, that's sort of a thing that it's an ongoing thing, but it's not a complete sort of ready item because now the roofs are hopefully moving forward, which will be a significant portion to come off of that. So in the next month, we'll have a better understanding of what the full list will look like, because that's gonna be, I mean, we have the parking lot, we know what infrastructure needs to be done, but in terms of the manpower and looking, the roof of the high school is really large, and so the amount of time that they've been spending on trying to get those drawings prepared to go out to bid for that has consumed a lot of it. But it's also work that's moving towards a future referendum as well, because that list also has to be updated. So we're sort of running two parallel trains, at least right now. So there's definitely some crossover. The work is continuing, but in terms of a big project, I'm not sure that until we know what's going on with the roof and some of the mechanical stuff that needs to come out of what was done in 2020, 2019, is gonna be updated. They also, I think we talked about this, we'll put like a drone through the school to get like where the doors are, and so you have an interactive map, so when you go out, we can't do that while there's students in the building. So hopefully that'll all happen in this coming summer, and so you'll have an interactive sort of map where you can walk through the school and see like whatever it is that you want to see. So yes, we're moving forward. Probably if you want us to really move forward and sort of work harder on moving this forward, we certainly can. But we've sort of shifted in trying to get the roofing projects done to bring this overall cost down.
Last we looked, we were removing the projects that were already completed and prioritizing the projects that were still on that.
And that has been
Tiering that
completed.
for him.
I'll let him go, I have a question. So when we did discuss it, one of the things we discussed was timing. And so it was, okay, we want to move forward, we want to get this done because there is so much time, and it almost seems like, I know there's the work to be done, but where are we in that time plan? Because that was really the gist of it. Is it a September, is it a December, is it a March? Like, when are we going to try to go out? And so it matters because we need that time to do all of the community work and everything else. But I almost like, I don't know if we still have a target, if we're just slowly moving.
Well, that's up to you guys.
That's what we did.
Allison, but-
Conversations that I
Yeah.
always,
I thought that's how we left
from
it.
our
but-
board, was a March
So,
vote.
the way that I recall it, okay, is yes, we discuss it in finance, but we also have other considerations in addition to the project of the timing and the work that it would take particularly with the process of bringing in a potentially new superintendent. And there were discussions that we had about that. So I think, why don't we go, whenever we have a chance, let's all discuss it and see where we land. I think I have a different, I remember the conversations with regard to what we talked about in finance, but because it was tied to a potential referendum and the different things that we're doing with the community and the outreach, and our focus has been a little bit, on something else. I recall that there were some discussions about whether or not we would, the timing of it also. Why don't we?
That's where
talk
my
about
question
that was my understanding.
So we're not all in finance anymore.
So, yeah, so
That discussion, if it happened in the committee, I think that's where,
yeah,
for me,
so that's,
anyway, I don't know.
That was I think Mr. DeCosta asked that in the committee,
Okay.
and that's why I thought it was.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened because of the timing of the superintendent search, because that's such a,
It just wasn't brought up.
that's,
So
right,
I
okay,
don't
that's
know
why
when
I'm
that
like,
changed.
okay, that's what happened.
But I don't know about his question.
we can definitely talk about it in more detail. We can definitely have another meeting. I walk around with a court reporter, so I remember everything. I don't.
That's okay.
But yeah, we'll definitely discuss it. But that was my recollection. But if there was some kind of,
Yeah, so I don't remember at our meeting discussing like timeframe, so that was probably more private in a committee. But I know we were discussing the projects that we're working on. Let's see if we can complete them and then find a whole new list and have a whole evaluation.
Well, that's why I was just gonna, like what you said, that's why I think it's important when we have the committee meetings to put that report together so the rest of us are all on the same page.
yeah, I mean, the one where I was there was really just mostly about the budget.
Yeah.
So really it was in that context, and when we talked about the referendum, it was kind of in a different context, and it was more in the context of like timing, and like if we're gonna go out in March or February or December, it wasn't really like just a finance meeting, it was, I know that Natalie was involved, there's like a lot of different things involved, so we can definitely have a discussion, but it was certainly not just a in finance meeting, it was involving other people, so we can have a conversation.
Yeah, the one finance meeting we had where he presented it, and then we asked him to come here and present the whole board, so there's a lot of information. And he came and did that, and at that point, my understanding was that it was for everyone so that we would continue to move forward. We didn't have a date in mind, but we wanted to get our ducks in a row so we could set a date. Now, if that changed, that's okay, I was not.
It wasn't a topic that was discussed as part of the committee meeting. I think that committee meeting happened like the week where our former superintendent departed, and I kind of stepped in. It was like that week, and it was a question that was posed.
Yeah, right, yes.
So with that transition happening, I think, and the process and setting up the dates for you to move forward with your search, I think it was at that moment, like.
Yeah, and the budget. Probably.
And the budget, yeah.
It kind of all converged at once there for, yeah, so.
And just talking about the existing projects and things we were going to move along now, is not necessarily, that there's a different track of whether or not we would want to move forward with a larger referendum, so there's two, competing parallel things that we were talking about.
So if it does come up again, I would like to ask, because I'm not in that, if we can start to look in that way, because how we left it when we all spoke was the urgency to get to that referendum when we could, because we are doing projects, but there are many more that we're not going to be able to do, and if we don't get them started, they could take a couple of years before they actually come to fruition, so we're even further out than when we could.
Absolutely. It sounds like we should have another committee meeting.
Yeah, that discussion when he presented it was on 12/5. Just so everyone has an idea, if they want to look back, that's when we had it. Yeah. Joe?
So, my recollection of that committee meeting was that there were kind of varying opinions. I know that John and I had kind of talked about it and had a healthy, respectful difference of opinion. And I kind of felt like it sort of got tabled, like we were going to discuss it amongst everybody, because it wasn't like all four of us thought one way, or whatever. And that maybe I'm wrong, but that was my recollection, was that it was going to like kind of go to everybody, like after we had discussed it in committee.
And it probably should, time, and I know a lot of stuff has happened.
Yeah, because I remember the whole superintendent thing coming up, and like my position was like, well, I thought we were kind of putting that on the back burner a little bit because we don't know who that person is and all that, and then your opinion, if I speak for you, was like, well, I think we should start the process, and, you know, and so I thought we left it at like, everybody's gonna talk about it type of thing.
Right, and the point is nothing of it is finite, and we should make it finite, right? As part of the board, say, yes, we want to do this or not, or, you know, put some sort of buffer in or pick it back up when we have a, you know, a full-time super.
Yeah, I think that was one of the considerations too. I mean, the timeline was December, we had a meeting, we talked about whether or not this was gonna happen. Our superintendent then resigned, and we were like, okay, are we gonna, you know, what are we gonna do? And then, like, not what are we gonna do, but like, you know, kind of plans moving forward. The reorg happened in January, and then in February, we had additional discussions where, you know, somebody did a presentation, we had an additional meeting that related to the budget, so there's a lot of moving parts. And I think that, you know, before we even talk about, okay, what's our timing on the referendum, I think we were having a discussion initially with our former superintendent about how we felt about it in general. So I don't know that we were at the point where we were like, full steam ahead, let's get dates on, you know. So I think that it's probably time for a discussion we can have in the finance committee, and then obviously things have changed over. And then I certainly don't think that it's a decision that only the finance committee is going to make.
Right.
So it would be something we would, you know, go around in finance, and then obviously have a broader discussion with kind of all these different competing interests, right? We're dealing with, you know, the big elephant in the room. So we'll set a time.
Agree.
Yeah.
Precisely what I put up.
Yes. But you brought it up during
Well,
board
thank you
action,
for bringing
which
it
is
up.
why
I was
I'm
confused at first, but thank you.
I didn't know where to put it.
That's okay.
It came down to
Yeah, old business only, and yes, I'm gonna bring my copy of Robert's rules.
I'm thinking about it.
I said that came up in the
So
committee,
thank you
too.
for bringing it up. I was confused because it wasn't an agenda item, so I was like, wait, okay. We have that. Any other discussion regarding old business? Any questions, concerns? No. Okay, any new business?
Oh, the old business, I'm sorry.
Come on.
Hey, no, it's a question, and you mentioned it in the message to us. The historic marker.
Yes, yes. So, the initial application, which was sent, I want to say it was 2 years ago now,
Yeah.
was never received. We looked and the check was never cashed. So I met with Council President Grant. She was gracious enough to make additional copies of the application. We drove it right over to the member's house. She lives in River Edge.
We were not taking those.
So we had confirmation that it was received, and we haven't heard anything yet, but we know that they have it this time, so.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any new business? Paige?
Sorry.
I'm just kidding with you.
John, Dave.
Okay.
Andrew hasn't spoken today.
Okay, open to the public. As outlined in the Milford Board of Education, bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I seek a motion. Joe, seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any comments from the public? No? Okay. Take a motion to close to the public. Paige, seconded by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board member requests for additional information. Tony?
If possible, perhaps in our packet at some point in the future, I'd be curious to know, now that I've read about the ice hockey cooperative, any other cooperative athletic programs we have, and the ratio of board payment to student athlete payment, et cetera, and perhaps participation rates?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
We are ending a co-op with Dumont for swimming. We currently have, so we're the LEA there, and so there's no cost to the students. As of the 23-24 season. Prior to that, the students were fundraising and paying. Pool time has increased. The only thing that Dumont was supplying was busing. I spoke about this at a previous board meeting because it was sort of a big financial burden because the board had expressed the pay-to-play policy and no longer sort of wanting to have the student athletes paying to participate. And this was the only program that the athletes were paying to participate in, was the swimming co-op. That has expired. I spoke with the Dumont VA. He was going to bring it to the board to see what had happened. That was last Thursday. I have not heard from him. So I assume that no call means a no-go. And so hopefully tomorrow we will have for you a approval for a swimming co-op with another district. These are sort of things when you don't have enough participants of your own that you can join with another town to have a team so that your student athletes can participate. And so it would be the first year that we would join with a new team, should that move forward.
Pay to play. Can you just define what pay to play is? Is it just like registration or league fees or things, something like that, like equipment, or is it also, like for example, I know that the cheer squad pays for so, you know, additional things that have to do with their competitions, like out of pocket. Like, can you define like what exactly the pay to play is?
There used to be a full pay to play. I cannot speak to that. I was not here when that was the case. I don't know if you have any information on that, Lauren.
I don't know what year that, I think that happened.
You're asking about what it was and what it ended?
No, when we
Well,
made
it
the,
was like
yeah,
but I don't think,
most
I
of
don't
it.
think so.
No, my question is,
It's not about
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
It's some sports will pay for things
Yeah.
out of pocket and others don't, but they do. So I think that that's really the question there. And for swimming, what they fundraised for was pool time. That was it.
Well, it was like if they needed money for officials, like there were
Yeah.
other
The
things
cost of
they.
having the sport.
Correct. Swimming also purchases their own uniform, it's a bathing
Correct.
suit. Whereas like a soccer team, it's a shirt and shorts, it's district, and then they return
Yeah,
it.
so she mentioned cheer as an example.
Yeah,
So
I
cheer
just
gets
made it as-
uniforms and like I said, they get
Yeah.
uniforms, they get the competitions, they get that, but there may be other things they want to do on top of that.
Yeah. I just want to make clear, because I know that, you know, someone might be confused, like hearing like, oh, athletes don't pay, you know, it's not pay to play, but I know that there are some sports where players do, you know, or families do come out of pocket and like pay for things, okay.
Correct.
If I can add just if I can get clarification. My understanding of pay for play is payment being made by the student athlete family to the board, not to the venue, not to the bus, to the board. So we don't currently have anybody paying to play with payments to the board, or do we?
Currently, we do not.
So it's just being used as a term, but it's not the actual,
Swimming was,
they're paying us.
they were paying us. They are no, as of the 23-24, they are no longer paying.
Joe?
I have to ask, so the ice hockey we just talked about, I'm going to assume that if we do have a student athlete next year rising 8th grader, right, ice time, is that participant going to need to contribute towards ice time, kind of like pool time? Because I would assume so. And if that's the case, will they be paying the board, or is that?
It's not a regular payment, it's.
Well, and the difference between swimming and ice hockey, just to be clear, is that we're joining another LEA. We are not the LEA. So whatever that LEA's board has determined is what that student would be paying. Because they are joining the Northern Valley team. So similar to what Dumont's issue with us was that we no longer want these payments. We're gonna take that as a local thing. We weren't making the decision for the Dumont board, so their players were no longer paying. So it goes both ways. So we can't determine what ice time or whatever that team is gonna contribute, just because that's the team that we have for them to participate.
Understood. When you say currently we don't, and we're
Correct.
talking about 24, 25, that might not
Correct.
necessarily be the case this year.
Absolutely.
So if that participant needs to play for ice.
Absolutely.
And we were bearing the greater cost for the swimming.
Correct. We were paying
Okay, any other additional information requests? No? Okay, seek a motion to recess to close. Nicole, seconded by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we will not be taking action when we come back. So, thank you for attending.
Thank you.